Use the Force, Luke.
Live long and prosper.
I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Shut up and take my money.
By Grabthar's hammer, what a saving.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
X never, ever marks the spot.
Winter is coming. You're a wizard, Harry.
Stay a while and listen.
Hey, old Kermit the Frog.
Bow ties are cool.
So say we all.
This is a Play on Nerds. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to an extraordinarily special episode of A Play on Nerds. You've been waiting for it for a while, and we're finally giving you people what you want. As always, I'm one of the co-hosts, Steve.
And I'm the other co-host, Jarman.
And we're here to bring nerdy fun into your life.
Absolutely.
And this is our 75th episode, as I said, but more importantly, this episode we are going to be celebrating 3 years of A Play on Nerds.
Woo!
How the hell did that happen?
Yeah, like 75 and the third anniversary episode happened at the same time. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So hopefully that means that when 100 hits, we'll be on the 4.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, we'll see if we can make that happen.
Let's see if we're still alive.
Yeah, we could just all be blown up by then. It doesn't matter.
So later on in the episode, we're going to be talking about recapping very quickly all the episodes we've done so far. And so we also might have a lot of new listeners because I've realized recently we have a lot of new subscribers and downloaders. So if you're new to the show, welcome. You'll get a great taste of what this show is all about. This is a good episode to start on. You're getting like a recap. It's like a show recap, basically, like previously on A Play on Nerds.
That's right.
And from then on, you can be a new listener and stick with us. I'd appreciate it.
That's right. Because whenever I watch my favorite sitcoms, my favorite episodes are always the recap episodes.
Of course, with flashbacks, and they basically just didn't have a budget for that episode. So
Yeah. Like people needed a vacation this week, so we just threw this together.
Exactly. They still have to pay everybody though, but oh well.
That's right.
And we get paid so much for this. So
we do. I get paid in love and adoration mostly from my mother, who tells me how great it is.
So our last episode was almost like a month ago, unfortunately, because of situations out of our control. We did our wonderful interview with the guys from
toughpigs.com.
Tough Pigs. There you go. toughpigs.com.
We talked about Mosaic Manhattan.
Yes.
And we got exposed to a lot of their fans. And I think our last episode was our most downloaded.
Yes, absolutely.
By far.
So we appreciate that if you're still with us listening.
Yeah. So we hope that we have earned your trust and continue to earn your trust.
So as we start the show, we typically do a quick little update for what we've done since our last episode, so you can get to know us a little better. So what have you been up to in this past month?
Oh, baby. Just baby. Just all the time, baby.
Well, I thought you just called me baby because you liked me.
No.
Oh, okay. Oh,
nah,
baby.
Honey bunches. Don't worry about it. Nah, baby really babies are just a time suck.
Oh, terrible. Just throw it away.
I mean, not in a bad way. It's an investment. I'm investing in this child's future and in the adult I'm actively raising right now. But it's just a lot. Like, go to work, come home, hold baby so Anna can do dinner, eat dinner, hold baby, help with bath.
A lot of poop.
Get baby down. Luckily, the pooping's mostly during the day. I miss a lot of the poop.
I gotcha.
Just from a timing point of view, I miss a lot of the poop.
That works out pretty well.
Get the baby down and then just try to fall asleep for the night and then rinse and repeat.
Wow. So that's been your life?
Yeah, it really has. And once again, it sounds negative. It's really not, but it's just babies are an investment.
Absolutely.
Don't let anyone try to trick you to say the babies are easy.
Oh, so many people say babies are so easy.
That's because they're trying to trick you into joining.
I was basically saying no one says that.
Well, that's because having babies is basically a pyramid scheme. Everyone else is like, no, it's so easy. It's just a few hours on the weekends, and look what you get out of it. And then you have the baby, and they're like, ha, now you're looped in.
It's a get poor quick scheme.
Get poor quick. That's right. A pyramid to the bottom.
It's an upside down pyramid.
That's right. But no, just a lot of time with the baby, and she's crawling all over the damn place. She's using items to stand up on her own, boxes and stuff. I think she'll be walking in a month.
So right now she's kind of trying to get around like a person who has no use of their legs.
Kind of. Yeah. She'll crawl to something that's short enough for her to climb up on, and then she'll climb up and kind of stand and try to move around.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So next step is ruining our lives. So
of course, and that's teenage years eventually.
And she's gonna just destroy the cats.
It's a good thing your cats haven't destroyed her.
That's right. Well, they're both still bigger than hers. So.
That's impressive. Yeah, you do a petite baby. That's true.
Well, the small one, Mackenzie, Joyce might be bigger than Mackenzie, but Joyce is definitely not bigger than that fat ass troubadour. That big pudgy bastard.
Is he the one knocked over your TV?
Yeah, he's the one that killed the TV.
Oh, how nice.
That bastard. So what have you been up to?
Well, one of the big reasons I wasn't able to record for a long time was because I'm an audiobook narrator of sorts, and so my last book deal was for a history of communist China, this book that's like 500 pages written in 1936, I believe.
Wow.
So it was long and painstaking, and I had to work with the client to get the right Chinese pronunciations for different names and places, and it was due, actually it's going to be playing in Beijing radio. So it was due on the 31st of, or 31st of May, or not May, March. So I had to work nonstop 12-hour days every day trying to get it done, recording and editing and working with editors, and it was a pain in the butt. I'm used to doing romance novels for my work, so this is definitely a big departure and much more difficult to narrate, make it sound natural and interesting.
That's right. But you got those Chinese government dollars, though, right?
It actually pays less than the romance novels as well.
I'm sure.
So I was not even worth it. Nope, not going to do that again. But
well, I mean, because how many middle-aged women go home at the end of a long workday and pour themselves a bottle of wine and put on some gentle music and then listen to an audiobook recording about communist China?
That wasn't where I thought you were going with that. Not many. You're right. Not many.
Not many.
If they do, they probably have a mental problem.
That's right.
So, yeah. But the deal was, I mean, I can say this because none of my clients will probably listen to this podcast, but the client I'm working with said if this book goes well, he has about 80 public domain books he wants me to narrate. So it'd be a very long-term contract.
Wow.
So that would be great. And he's a really nice client. It's just that it's a tough job. He's like a third party working with Beijing and me, and it's complicated. And so I just want to get this part over with, and the rest of it will be fun, doing like Great Gatsby and a lot of classic books and that kind of thing. So
as long as they're paying US dollars, I think that's all that matters.
We're paying you $1,000. Oh, great. No, it's in Beijing, whatever.
It's in yen. Sorry.
But anyways, and after that, I'm in the middle of house hunting, and also my girlfriend got a flu, then it became bronchitis, and then she got pneumonia in both lungs. So
sweet.
Yeah,
she's winning.
2 weeks I've been taking care of her right after the book was done, so I haven't got much done after that. So that was nuts. But on a nerdy note, I just got to see last night Michael Dorn, aka Worf from Star Trek, play Antony and Cleopatra. Shakespeare. He played the lead role.
I protest. I am not a merry man.
And it's so funny because I'd seen Patrick Stewart perform live in theater in that same role. So now I've seen 2 Star Trek actors play Antony and Antony and Cleopatra.
Nice. You should try to collect the whole bunch.
I know. I want to see them all perform, but we'll put it this way. Patrick Stewart was much better.
What? No. No.
It was like seeing a really calm Worf perform Antony. It was very strange. But yeah, that was a thing that happened. But that's pretty much where I've been this past month. It's been a crazy month, so I'm happy to be back.
Yeah. The only other thing that's happening here, San Jose Comic-Con's coming up.
Oh, cool.
And Ann and I really wanted to go and sort of make it our first adult weekend, but it's only the second annual, and the roster of guests was looking real bad.
Pretty lame.
Like 9 people confirmed, half of them the Star Trek Next Generation cast, like half of them. And so we're waiting, and then they just got an updated list, and there are some more impressive people. Like
Patrick Swayze's brother, that kind of thing.
Yes. Hat-trick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze.
But they rounded it out with a bunch of other sci-fi people and some more Next Generation people and people from Mythbusters. But the ones that I'm excited about are they've got a lot of the actual human cast from Sesame Street.
Very cool.
Including the guy Emilio Delgado, who played Luis, who was on from very early on. Bob McGrath, who played Bob Johnson, Gordon, Carol Spinney, the guy who plays Oscar, and they're going to be there. The problem is that they haven't updated what days they're going to be there.
Oh, because you kind of want to know that before you go.
Right. Ann and I have decided we're not going to go for all 3 days because we don't think there's enough stuff. But we can go and do one good full day. But I want to have that good full day be a day I can go see those guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
So at this point, I'm just like in this holding pattern, waiting for them to update the site.
So that'll be your first adult day out without the baby?
I mean, we got to do a grocery shopping trip without the baby. And we got to go see a movie at one point. We went and saw Logan.
Nice.
But it would be like probably the first more than 3 hours.
Gotcha. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Got to recap that for the show.
That's right. Biff from Back to the Future is going to be there. So it's going to be good.
Hey, McFly. Hey, I'm talking to you, McFly, you Irish bug.
I've heard he's a country singer now, too.
All right. Maybe we won't go.
Yeah, he'll like force everyone to listen to him sing.
Here's my new album. Can you just sign my DeLorean so I can go?
Make like a tree and get out of here.
And Carrie Fisher's dog, Gary Fisher, is going to be there.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, he's like he's a world famous dog.
Yeah, she always took him on TV shows with her and stuff.
Yeah, with his stupid tongue hanging out. Yeah, Gary Fisher is going to be at San Jose Comic-Con.
That is hilarious. Wow. So hat trick Swayze and Gary Fisher.
Patrick Swayze. they're probably lovers.
Yeah. That tongue hanging out is just too sexy. Oh, too sexy, too sexy. So does that mean we're moving on to some nerdy news?
Let's move on to some nerdy news.
Woo!
It's time for Nerdy News.
So what you got for us this week, Steve?
So this week I'm going to call my stories, What Year Is It? Because it's the reinvention and bringing back of two classic properties that they're bringing back again. And my question becomes, what year is it and who is demanding these films be made? So one is that Watchmen is getting a new animated release that is set to be R-rated and to be very, very close to the comic.
Oh, so swinging blue dick and all.
Yeah, swinging blue dick. Just, I mean, that was in the movie.
That's true.
There'll be a lot more.
Just more swinging
Just
dick.
So much more.
Played by Patrick Swayze. Sorry.
Yeah. I think the story from that was that they were like, okay, you can have the blue penis out whenever he's normal size, but whenever he becomes giant, we got to hide the dong. We can't have a 12-foot blue dong on screen.
Just knocking down buildings.
It'll scare people in the Midwest. We can't do it.
Oh my God.
So yeah, Watchmen is getting an R-rated animated adaptation. And from the way it sounds like they're pretty far into production. This has been something that's been worked on. It's not
Nice.
This isn't 2 or 3 years away. It's coming out relatively soon.
People always whine and complain the movie wasn't close enough to the thing, so I guess that's good.
And then Barry Blaustein and David Sheffield, two big writers from the 80s, early 90s, and the early 2000s, have been brought back together to write the much anticipated sequel to Coming to America.
That's been waiting for it all this time.
Right. So one of the brings me, what year is it? And who is asking? What public is demanding the sequel for Coming to America? I want to meet these people.
Well, there's like a meme going around. It's of that Robin Williams from Jumanji, and it's like he's looking all crazy, and he says, "What year is it?"
What year is it?
He's like, "I just saw that Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles are in theaters."
Yeah, what year is it? So yeah, we have Watchmen gritty reboot coming, and then sequel, hopefully a gritty reboot sequel to Coming to America.
Oh God, Coming to America. He didn't know it was a Trump presidency.
That's right. Prince Akeem gets captured in what was the name of the made up country?
Oh, I can't remember.
Rakundo, maybe something like that.
Zamunda? I think it was Zamunda.
Zamunda.
Yeah.
Zamunda. Yeah, it's like Olympus Has Fallen, but with Zamunda. And then Arsenio Hall has to rescue Eddie Murphy.
The movie's 20 minutes long because he gets to America and gets deported immediately.
He plays like 12. It's just him getting to America, and the next 2 hours are him going through extensive paperwork with lawyers.
He's going
just
through
extensive,
extreme vetting.
That's right. It's him. The movie is him working with your mom and Scott on getting into the country.
My mother and stepfather are immigration attorneys, for those listening, and they're sponsors of the podcast. Silver Law
They're
Chartered.
sponsors of the podcast. Catering, thanks to Silver Day Law. Thanks. Did I get that right? Is it Silver Day Law?
It's Silver Law Chartered.
Ah, damn.
Close
I
enough.
would have gotten it.
So my dirty news is a couple casting announcements.
Ooh.
So you might have heard about these, but Josh Brolin has been cast to play Cable in the new Deadpool movie.
Did see that somewhere.
He signed a 4-picture deal, apparently, so they're probably going to do that, and also the whatever that was called, X Factor, I think it was, whatever the group was called that goes forward with, or X Force, that's what it was.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And actually, as a kid, I really liked Cable for some reason. I had like a couple Cable comic books, I had the action figure. I don't remember why, but because I didn't know that much about him, but I liked Cable for some reason. But he's like the future son of like Scott Summers, Cyclops, and I don't know. He comes back from the future and he's like a cyborg. It's really weird.
Hopefully he can bring his experience with spousal abuse to the role.
I actually wrote that in my notes. I was
amp it up.
about to say that because there's so many actors now that are spouse abusers, and I'm like, it's disgusting.
I hope Cable, one of his powers is just slapping women.
It's so terrible.
Because Josh Brolin will bring that to the role, and I think lend some authenticity to that.
We got like Casey Affleck, we got Johnny Depp, we got so many that are just like, and I said, I was
Christian
joking
Bale,
around.
I think, assaulted his mom and his sister.
Yeah. And I was like, it's like, I guess there's not enough actors to go around. They have to cast these people who have all been spousal abusers.
Russell Crowe just gets in fights wherever he goes, from what I can tell.
Yeah, at least he's not discriminating. He just beats the hell out of anybody who's in front of him.
That's right.
We are not making light of spousal abuse. We're saying how ridiculous this is that they don't care that these actors have done these things. But anyways, yeah, and I think it's an okay choice, but they were going to do something weird, like make Keira Knightley. He made a joke about that in like one of the post-credit sequences or something, Deadpool.
Oh, yeah.
They cast Keira Knightley as Cable, so that would have been fun. But oh well, we'll see how he does. So now he's in 2 different Marvel franchises. Because he's playing Thanos.
He is in Thanos. You're right.
And now he's playing Cable. But anyways, and the other
those are both. Are those no? Because
they're different
Deadpool
universes.
Falls under Fox.
Yeah, the X-Men universe, exactly.
And even that Deadpool isn't even in, because they use a different God, what the hell is his name? Colossus in Deadpool. It's not even meant to be the same universe.
Yeah, it's actually like a different actor and a better representation of Colossus too, because he's Russian and like bigger dude. It makes more sense.
Right.
But who knows what they're trying to do with that?
Yeah, who knows? They're just splitting things off all over the place. Doesn't matter.
But speaking of spousal abusing actors,
hey, segue.
Not Jude Law, because he hasn't. I don't think he's been arrested for that, at least not yet. But he has, been arrested as a prostitute, I think, or something at some point. But he was cast as young Dumbledore in Fantastic Beasts 2.
I'm okay with that casting.
I really like that casting. But it's funny because he's playing opposite of Grindelwald, which is played by Johnny Depp, who is now spousal abuser, or at least an alleged one.
Yay!
But I don't understand why they have to make this Fantastic Beasts 2, because if you know the story, there's like a big story of Grindelwald and young Dumbledore. They should just make that its own movie separately, I think. But whatever. Because they are like Dumbledore is in love with Grindelwald, basically.
Yeah, haven't they? I mean, but isn't this going to be like 4 movies or something like that? They've already said they're doing.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Look, okay, Miss Rowling,
you're listening.
Since you're listening, or if any of our UK listeners know you, just make sure she gets this. We need you to write more good stuff in the Harry Potter universe, because if you don't, Hollywood is going to take your universe and just make it do all sorts of terrible things.
Just keep scraping that barrel.
So we need you to take the reins back. We need you to write that 3-book series about the first rise of Voldemort.
Yeah.
And the forming of the Order. We need you to write that so that they can make a movie about something good instead of making up 6 Fantastic Beast films.
Like they're pulling from little mentions of stories. Like there is a story behind young Dumbledore and Grindelwald, in the story of Grindelwald being the most terrifying villain before Voldemort.
Right.
So they have some material that's hers, but then they're just going to be expounding on it. So, and she was a big screenwriter, I think, for the Fantastic Beasts movie, at least.
Right. Great.
So she helped with that.
Please grab the reins of the world you created and pull it back.
But I like Fantastic Beasts. Did you like it?
It was okay. I didn't like it as much as any other one of the Harry Potter films.
Fair enough.
You could pick any of the 7 Harry Potter films, and I would have liked whatever one you picked more than I liked Fantastic
Yeah,
Beasts.
they were all more cohesive, I think, than that one was. Kind of all over the place. Well, yeah, that's my nerdy news for now.
Ooh.
We have exciting trailers for later on the show that we'll talk about later, kind of part of the news. But
but for now, let's take a step back into the 3-year extensive history of A Play on Nerds while we celebrate our 3rd anniversary doing this podcast. We're going to go in the Wayback Machine. And let's start off by talking about episode number 1. We were so young. We didn't know what we were doing. We had no format yet, really.
No.
We just had this idea that we were gonna do copycat cinema.
So
I think that was pretty much the only idea we had.
And it was a great idea. It got us pretty far, which was basically all these movies that came out in the same year that are very similar. So our first one was Gremlins versus Critters. 2 high-quality movies, let me tell you.
Hey, Gremlins is a classic, you bastard.
Critters is great. I love Critters. And so we usually pick a side, like kind of argue which one's better just for fun to debate it. And then, so it was enjoyable. Those are 2 great movies.
A lot of our early episodes are copycat cinemas.
Because we couldn't think of anything else.
A ton. But I don't really remember. So that's the thing. As I was going through, I don't think this recap's going to take as long as we think. Because when I was going through, there are huge chunks in like the 20 to 30 episode range. I don't remember a thing.
Well, you were obviously drunk the whole time, so.
Just the whole time.
We discussed, they have recaps I wrote down for each episode, painfully. So we talked about League of Legends, Star Trek, Dead Puppet Wranglers. That used to be a segment, all you Muppet fans
Dead
out
Hands.
there.
Dead Hands was one of our original games.
So depressing. How did it go again?
I would just name a character, and you had to tell me if the Muppet performer was still alive or not. And that list just keeps narrowing down.
I know, and like I don't know anything about Muppets anyways, so it was just like a crapshoot if they're dead or alive.
Yeah. I think we played that 2 or 3 times.
It was a very depressing game. So, move on to episode 2?
Yeah, episode 2.
Which was another copycat
cinema. The first 20, I'm pretty sure like 16 are copycat cinemas.
There's so many.
And we did The Cave versus The Descent. Descent is a great movie. The Cave, not so much.
No.
I think we also listened to, you did a bunch of interviews because you went to MegaCon.
Yes, and I hope to do more of those in the future. I haven't gotten myself organized enough to do that again, but it's fun to talk to people at nerd conventions and get their, opinion on nerd culture and such. So that'll come again in the future.
And then we in that episode played 2 games. What's the deal with Star Trek? Where I asked you, hey, what's the deal with photon torpedoes? And you had to tell me about photon torpedoes. And then Brooklyn Band or Smut Search.
And that's been around for a long time.
Which is a game we used to do that was a very limiting game because there's only so many bands. But I would find people doing searches on porn sites and then a name of a Brooklyn band. And Jarman would have to tell me which was which.
And that was when you were actually living in Brooklyn.
I was, in fact, living in Brooklyn at the time.
That's true. So that's the beginning of we played that game a ton.
Yeah, well, the thing is, there's only so many Brooklyn bands that could be smut searches. Like,
right.
It would get really limiting very quickly.
But there's an unlimited amount of Brooklyn bands, so.
And there's an unlimited amount of smut out there.
That's true.
Next episode, another copycat cinema.
Episode 3.
This, I think, was my least favorite of all the copycat cinemas we did.
Because they're both bad?
Because they were both bad. It was Mirror Mirror versus Snow White and the Huntsman. Yeah. And they were both just bad. Like, there wasn't one I could enjoy. Typically in the 2, whenever we pick 2 movies, there's one that is just clearly better.
Right.
So you get to enjoy at least one of them, and this was not one of those.
No. And I did a one-off game we never played again, I don't think, called Name That Grossly Gluttural, Nearly Overused, Slightly Ambiguous Roaring Sound.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Just rolls off the tongue.
Though I do think we did another game that was similar at some point.
Like name that alien noise. I think we did.
Yeah,
that.
name that alien noise or something like that.
And that was way too easy. You're like a predator going.
So then on to episode 4, and then we did like 2 episodes in a row where I'm like, what the hell were we thinking? we did a Marvel episode, despite the fact that neither of us have any Marvel experience or knowledge.
Well, what did we talk?
And then I think we did like a DC episode just a few episodes later.
Well, I think what happened was we then became a little more, established, and we got some guests who are experts in comics to come on and talk about those things. So yeah, at first we were like, we'll cover this. We got it.
So yeah, Marvel episode. And then back to Copycat Cinema, back to home base for episode 5.
Oh, but wait, we started a game in that last episode that we did a few times called Name That Power, where you name a superhero and I have to name what the powers are.
Oh, that's right.
Because we played that a few times.
That was terrible. There are some terrible Marvel heroes.
Oh, there is.
Just terrible.
So dumb. But yeah, so episode 5, Armageddon.
Episode 5, I think, had one of my favorite Copycat Cinemas, Armageddon Deep Impact.
2 fun movies. Pretty good.
And I'll always like Deep Impact better, despite the fact that Armageddon is clearly the superior film.
Deep Impact,
but I'll always like Deep Impact better.
And then I had started my new segment that I haven't done in a long time called Preternatural Penetration, which is where Jarman penetrates the areas of the paranormal and preternatural.
Basically, Jarman would present a dopey story about something fake, and then I get to make fun of it.
I say the story of Roswell.
That's pretty much what happened.
Because you don't believe in ghosts.
Ghosts? That's because they're not. I don't have to not believe in them. They're not real. I don't have to not believe in unicorns. Unicorns aren't real.
Exactly. That's why I don't actively believe in ghosts. I just think that it could be a fun possibility.
No.
So episode 6.
Aliens are a possibility.
Yes. Episode 6, I don't know what it was about. What are we? X-Men, I guess is what we talked about.
X-Men. We did X-Men. So this is another one of those episodes where I'm like, what the hell were we thinking?
I don't know. We were so young and naive.
Yeah. And just talking to... And I think we did some terrible trailer for some dinosaur movie at the end.
Oh, yeah. Poseidon Rex.
And then we have episode 7, which marked our first guest ever.
Oh, wait, you missed something for episode 6, though.
What did I miss?
A great segment that we did for a long time, which we haven't done a lot in a while, called Hypothetical Hubbub.
Oh, that's right. Where you read hypothetical questions to me.
When they're basically really weird situations. A lot of them were by Chuck Klosterman, an author, and they're really creepy and strange. Like, what would you do in the situation? And we had to figure out why and what we would do. It's a lot of fun. It prompts good discussion. Sorry, episode 7.
Episode 7, we had our first ever guest, Cameron, came on to talk about D&D and tabletop games.
Because he is a 20-year veteran game master, and so both Steven and I have dabbled on and off with tabletop gaming. I play every week, but you're about to, aren't you?
Oh, I forgot. We started a campaign 2 weeks ago.
That's awesome. So you had your first session?
Well, I didn't start a campaign. I started with a group that's a mid-campaign.
Right. What version are they playing?
5e.
That's what I'm playing right now with one of my groups.
It's very... I'm a little taken off guard about how simple it is sometimes.
They simplified everything from D&D 1 up, so it's like not as like video gamey as 4.0 was.
But like rolling on advantage versus rolling on disadvantage. Like that kind of stuff.
Right. I like it. I like it a lot. It's very intuitive.
But I need to get a second set of dice. That's what I'm realizing.
That's true. You need to have
rolling advantage versus disadvantage. Yeah.
And back then, I'm looking at our pages, we only had a Twitter, a Facebook, and a Google+. Now we have every social media that we never use. So it's great.
That's right. And none of them are updated. We just have them so that no one else can.
They auto-update or something every once in a while. But yeah, follow us on Instagram. We have so much content on there.
But yeah, so thank you to Cameron. That's another goal of this episode, is to go through and thank all the guests that we've had.
Absolutely. Cameron he's a very, very knowledgeable guy.
And then what it still lives in my heart is one of my favorite episodes, maybe my favorite episode.
Oh, yes.
Episode 8, Apologies to Raul Julia.
Which we say almost every other episode. A little less nowadays.
Copycat Cinema, Double Dragon versus Street Fighter, and it was just a spectacular comparison because both are
classics,
so over the top and so ridiculous and so stylized.
So 90s.
So 90s, just so painfully 90s.
I love those movies. They're so much fun.
But to this day, that still, when I have to tell people, they say, what episode should I check out? If I check out your podcast, I still always tell them episode 8.
And that's a good thing is that besides our nerdy news segment and our updates, our features are pretty timeless. You can go back and watch a lot of these things, listen to a lot of these things. But now we always say, and we apologize once again to Raul Julia.
And once again, apologies to Raul Julia. And then episode 9, which was our most popular episode for a while.
Strangely enough.
The books. Our books episode. Which had there was no aim or goal. We literally both just made a list of books and then talked about them. And that was our most popular episode
for a long time. I think there was a caption underneath the photo for the episode. It just says books. And that was announcing also the upcoming Gambit movie with Channing Tatum that never happened.
Yeah, how about that?
That's a little time capsule for you.
And then episode 11, we did a review of X-Men Days of Future Past. I still really enjoyed that film.
Did we? Oh, what about episode 10? You skipped that one.
Oh, what happened to episode 10?
It's our 2004 extravaganza for some reason.
Oh, because it was episode 10, so we went 10 years in the past, and since it was 2014 at the time, 3 years ago.
That makes so much sense.
we went through things that happened in 2004, which was also the year we graduated high school, so it was very...
That's true. It was a nostalgic episode.
Cathartic and nostalgic, yeah.
Which was the year that the wardrobe malfunction happened with Janet Jackson.
Apparently.
That's very important.
Let's all try to forget that.
And the birth of Facebook as well.
Wow, that's right. The Facebook.
That's right, the Facebook.
The Facebook, and it was only open to a handful of universities. And I remember you made me so jealous.
Because I had Facebook. The Facebook.
Because you had the Facebook, and Nick Singer had the Facebook, and a bunch of people in these Northeast colleges had the Facebook, but I didn't have the Facebook yet.
So we were going the Facebook.
Well, that's because it was thefacebook.com. It was before they bought the rights to facebook.com.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Episode 11, review of X-Men Days of Future Past. I don't remember much else.
Yeah, we just did a whole episode of one movie review. That's pretty rare for us.
And then we reviewed the trailers. This is one of the ones I think we got right. Snowpiercer and Edge of Tomorrow we reviewed. And both of those movies were really good.
I still haven't seen Snowpiercer.
Keep an open mind. It's not going to be anything you expect, but it is strangely beautiful and one of those movies that you appreciate on more the second and third time you watch it.
And you know me, I love most movies, so
yes,
it works out.
You are I know I refer to myself as a movie pessimist. I guess you're a movie optimist.
Absolutely. Episode 12, Buffy Palooza,
which was okay. Well, this is another one of those episodes where I'm like, I watched through the show once and I liked it. Yeah, we should talk about it for an hour.
Whereas I had just finished it and I was like, I love this show. It's so
you were
amazing.
Fresh. You were fresh.
Exactly.
But then we got back to home base in episode 13, Gremlins 2 versus Critters 2.
Great episode.
Which was spectacular.
Both this
I know way too much about Critters and about Gremlins 2.
Yeah, because Gremlins 2 got actually better, and then Critters 2 just went down the path of campy horribleness.
Straight down the shitter.
Which was great. I loved it.
And then on to episode 14, where we had our second guest. I think this is where Patrick joined us.
No, he joined for a later episode. He joined us for the Fallout episode.
Oh, okay. Because I saw video games. I thought, that must be the Patrick one.
Right.
So never mind. Patrick, shut up. You come later. So we talked about video games and all sorts of video games. iOS, old school console, arcade games. We talked about it all.
I guess this is a trend that we start off with our early episodes talking about things so very generally, and then we're getting more and more specific as we go forward, which makes sense.
Yeah, and now we just don't talk about anything, really.
Don't talk about anything.
Like, really? What do we talk about anymore?
We talk about so much.
I know.
Now we're doing a long series of movie reviews of Star Trek and Muppets, so that's important.
So that we don't actually have to plan anything.
Except watching a movie, which is fun. Hey, a movie.
And then episode 15, I can't tell what this one's about either.
Bigfoot and moon fights.
Yeah, that's the name of the episode.
That's the name of the episode.
Moon fights.
And I put the description, is Bigfoot a multidimensional alien?
The main segment was preternatural penetration.
Okay.
The main thing was I think you did 2 or 3 stories and I tore them all apart.
Right. The Patterson Gimlin Bigfoot video is very important. Yeah. And other
But
things.
then at the end, I think we discussed that more recent Bigfoot video. I was just listening to the episode, actually, now I'm thinking about it.
Oh.
I went back and listened to a couple of our classics, and it was like at Yosemite Park, and the camera had to zoom in and then digitally zoom in like 300 yards.
Oh, there was one.
It
was like in the
and there
snow.
were people that there were definitely snow skiers, but we were speculating that maybe it could be Bigfoot. They were definitely snow skiers.
It was ghosts.
It was definitely ghosts. So then we haven't done any in a long time, but we did a Play on Nerd add-ons. I think we only done 3.
Yeah, just basically when we didn't have an episode, and that's back when I felt bad if we went missing for a while. So I do a little something.
Oh no! Don't feel bad.
I should do that more, but takes time.
Let's see, episode 16 was our review of one of the Transformers films.
I think all the Transformer films.
Oh, with sort of Transformers in general, both from animated.
Yeah, cartoons, action figures, steaming pile of turd that was Age of Extinction. That's what we said.
Yes. Though I am excited for the new one.
I mean, it looks like it's going to be more silly
I've said
fun.
that for the last 4 of them, and I've been wrong, but I'm excited for this one.
They're dopey popcorn fodder. I don't mind them. I just wish that it didn't mean other movies weren't made because of them.
That's true.
Yeah,
limiting others. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, episode 17.
Star Trek stuff.
William Shatner's toupee. That's what it's called.
I remember you. I think if I'm thinking right, I had you pick out like 2 classic episodes of Star Trek.
Right. I think we
kind of
watched
a
mock time.
them.
Apparently, it's a great episode.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
But yeah, just talk of just this whole show in general. It's one of my favorites. I just, as I was editing that long audiobook just now, I had Star Trek, the original series on mute playing on Netflix on just every episode playing as I was editing for hours and hours. And it was just comforting to have them just talking silently next to me while I was editing. It was so sad.
And then episode 18, Back to Our Roots, Copycat Cinema, The Illusionist and The Prestige.
2 good, decent movies.
Both decent. I think The Prestige is the better.
I do too. Great twist at the end.
I can't remember which one I argued for. I'm pretty sure I argued for The Illusionist, but The Prestige was better. It just was.
Yeah. All right, episode 19. Tommy Lee Jones punches a volcano.
Oh, Volcano versus Dante's Peak. It's got to be.
Yep. Another great Copycat Cinema. Both not very good movies, but kind of fun.
And then I did a one-time game called That Was a Play, where I named movies, and Jarman had to tell me whether they were stage productions before.
And this sounds like so unfun because like how lame does that sound? But we make things fun, I think.
Yeah, sure.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be around anymore.
Episode 20, we did a big celebration episode. We did 4 top 5 lists.
Right.
I think for movies, TV, books, and something else.
Games and music. Yeah.
Games and music. There we go. Because we had just done the books episode. There we go.
Right.
And that was a good way to celebrate the 20th episode.
Yeah, that was fun.
And then we brought it right back down with episode 21. We talked about Robin Williams' death.
Oh, so August 20th, 2014 when that aired, that episode. And yeah, he had just passed away. That was a very melancholy episode for sure.
Yeah.
Just talking about all his movies and accomplishments and everything. And
it's crazy to think he's been gone for like over 2 years now.
And we just mentioned him earlier in this conversation.
Yeah.
The Jumanji thing, meme going
That's
around.
right. Man, Robin, what the hell happened?
So this is where I went to episode 22, Nerd Spotlight number 1. We don't have a number 2 yet, but I went to a party and a bunch of my very geeky friends and just talked to them about what their favorite geeky stuff is, and just kind of everyone was drinking and having a good time. I had my portable recorder, so I was excited to use it for the first time. So I just had some conversations about being a dork and what it means to be they think they're a nerd or a geek and what that means, and it was just kind of a neat little insight. So I hope to do that again sometime. I think you were off somewhere for a while, so you couldn't record. So
I was probably on some sort of summer vacation or a trip.
You were traveling the Indies.
Yes, that's accurate. That sounds right.
Sounds
that's
like
often what I do. Episode 23, we talked about Dragon Con, because you went, I think you did some interviews at Dragon Con.
That's right. And wine apparently. Did we do a?
Yeah, there's no other description here. So
I think that's when we did our first connoisseur thing. What was it called?
Oh, 5 Minute Aficionado.
Right. That's why I had trouble finding it.
You did call it something wrong at one point. I just remembered that.
So you did the 5 Minute Aficionado, which is where Steve basically helps you become an expert in something in 5 minutes.
Just help you not look like a fool.
Right. So
that's really the goal.
That one was all about how to pick out wine and drink it properly and test it, and so you look like an idiot when you're at a restaurant ordering wine.
So that, when they come and they pour you the little sample, you know what to do with it.
And I really got to re-listen to that because I've already forgotten most of it. So
that's right. You didn't learn. Then episode 24, we talk about Orange is the New Black, and I think at the time only the first 2 seasons were out.
Right. Do we have a guest for that one or no? I don't think we did.
What episode did Jackie join us for?
She did join us for an episode. I thought she was on that one.
And I thought it was that one too, actually. Yeah,
I don't see her in the description. So,
so Jackie may or may not be on that episode.
That was my ex-girlfriend. She's also a nerdy burlesquer and a cool person. She's a big nerd and was a big fan of that show as well. So I'm not sure.
We might find an episode later and go, oh, that was the one. But I could have sworn it was the Orange is the New Black one.
Yeah, me too. You also did you called it 5 Minute Connoisseur before, but now it's
No, I never called it. That was what I saw and went, oh, why the hell did Jarman call it that? I've never called it 5 Minute Connoisseur.
So you told us how to properly smoke a cigar in that episode, which is fun.
And pick out a cigar. Yep. And I think I went over lighting procedures as well.
Oh, and it says we're joined by Jarman's girlfriend, Jackie.
Yeah, there we go. We remembered.
So
thank you, Jackie, for being our guest in episode 24.
Absolutely. It's good to get a female perspective in here whenever we can because we're 2 dumb dudes. So do we know.
That's right.
Episode 25, Comics with Ryan from the Positively Nerdy podcast. Woo!
Thank you, Ryan, for coming on.
Absolutely. And he hasn't had his podcast in a while, unfortunately. I hope it's not done completely, but he has not been out in a long time.
Come back to us, Ryan.
Yeah, we miss you, Ryan. Maybe maybe my feed's messed up. Message me. Tell me if my feed's just broken. I'm not getting your podcast.
Is Jarman not periscoping right? We don't know.
I don't know how that works.
Because I don't know what Periscope is.
But I guess, what did he talk about? It was like newbie readers, what kind of comics he reads, and
Yeah, I think we had him recap like his top 3 comics that he has, the coolest ones he's seen in person,
comic book industry stuff, that kind of thing.
Yeah, what it's like to actually collect. I remember going over a lot of that.
Yeah, good general discussion.
And then episode 26, we talked about one of my favorite Jim Henson ventures, Dinosaurs.
And
I think I had Jarman watch 1 or 2 episodes and we reviewed them.
Right, similar to our TOS, our Star Trek TOS thing where we talk about a show and then give me a couple episodes to watch. It was a fun show. I watched it when I was a kid.
And then we played a game that we haven't done in a while, but would be easy. Factoid Fumbles.
Right.
Where I literally would just throw something at Jarman and he would have to tell me something that he at least knew to be true about it.
It made no sense.
How simple it was.
But it was fun. Factoid Fumbles. Let's bring that back.
Mastodon. It was a big elephant thing. That's correct. That's correct.
That game is also played better when drunk.
Yes.
Episode
27, we went back to our roots again. This is the copycat cinemas get further and further spread out. They're like prime numbers.
Right.
When we first started, it was like every other one, but now we're getting further. It's got to be a very specific episode. I mean, in fact, I've been thinking about talking to you about doing one at some point soon.
Oh, we should. But we
definitely should.
Turner and Hooch versus K9, 2 movies about middle-aged white men with big dogs.
And Turner and Hooch was better. It just was.
Yes.
It was.
I mean, any Jim Belushi movie is not going to be that great.
No, not the best.
Sorry, bud.
And then we reviewed John Wick in trailer reviews, and we were right. It ended up being friggin' awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, now I've already seen the second one. The second one's great too.
I haven't seen it yet. Good. You
Definitely
recommend?
Worth it. Totally fun.
Right.
Totally fun. It's just more of what you liked in the first one, basically.
For episode 28, we talked about Halloween because we released it right after Halloween. Talked about, I think, favorite horror movies and Halloween parties and costumes growing up and all the good stuff and favorite candy to get.
Because the next year we do another Halloween episode, but we'll get to that because that was a fun one about candy. But yeah, that comes later.
Yeah, I did like that one.
Oh, and I played How Did They Die? Where I play a clip of a ridiculous death just by sound. Steve has to guess how they died.
How they died.
That was a difficult one.
I think I only got 1 or 2 right on that game.
It's pretty hard because you're like screaming and blood splattering, and then you're just like, I don't know, chainsaw?
So the next episode 29, we did like a space episode.
Right.
Where we were both really out of our depth.
Oh, and this is how we got one of our most listened to episodes later on. because we talked about space, and my random buddy from college who went on to work for NASA and JPL had listened to that episode, and he was so angry at the facts we got wrong that he came on as a guest.
Just the thing, we just got a lot. We were bad.
And so, yeah, he came on as a guest later on. We'll get to that. And it was like one of our most listened to episodes besides books.
So we talked about space and a lot of scientific concepts that were like way outside of our grasp.
Right.
Episode 30, we decided that it also had to be a special episode.
30 years in the past.
So we looked 30 years back instead of 10, and we looked at 1984, which was a hell of a year for television and music and movies.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
And pop culture in general. 84 had some big ones.
Mm-hmm. And we talked about the confirmed Doctor Strange casting at that point.
Oh, that's right.
Back in 2014. Man, a lot of times
and
passed.
progress on Deadpool. Wow, man, this is really surreal now that I'm looking at the things we reviewed.
So long ago.
Yeah, so we had a good time.
And episode 31, this is a very controversial episode, probably our only actual controversial episode.
Yeah.
We had my old professor from Boston University, who's gone on to be a writer for several big blogs and websites. And
Kristen Bizzaio, right?
Yes. I'm now forgetting if it's Bezio or Bizzaio. I feel horrible.
I think on the episode you say Bizzaio.
I think I found that out from her ahead of time. Yeah, because I'd always just called her Kristen in person. We were working on plays together in college, but she was older than us. She was like assistant professor, and now I think she's a full professor now. But it was all about Gamergate, that stupidness that had come out, and
right, just sexist assholes ruin it for everyone.
Right, and all about equal representation in video games because she's a big gamer. Her husband is a game developer for a big company. And so we posted that episode where I was starting to post things on YouTube and SoundCloud as well as iTunes. And
SoundCloud. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been on SoundCloud the whole time since then anyways. But we started getting comments, especially on the YouTube one, just from random Gamergate people coming out of the woodwork because they found like the hashtag or something and were searching for places to yell and complain and troll. And I was like, really? You're that little of a life that you've somehow just searched out? But I was like, all I would respond with was like, thanks for listening to the podcast.
Thanks, bud. Keep tuning in, you dumb asshole.
Yeah. It's about journalism.
You misogynistic prick. We want your votes.
Just download our episodes, buddy. I don't care. So
thank you, Kristen, for coming and attempting to educate us.
Oh, yeah. It was great.
Listeners.
That was a
thank
fun
you for
episode.
being one of our guests. And then we had another episode with a guest right away.
Yes.
Episode 32, and this was your buddy, Ian Cohen, who is literally a rocket scientist.
Exactly.
And came on. And I remember we started by asking him about, telescopes. And he said, what kind of telescope? And I went, there are different kinds? He said, yes. And I said, and I've already learned something. Like the first 4 sentences, I learned something. He was very knowledgeable, very scientific. The only thing I remember about his interview that wasn't great is that I think we asked him if he had like a way to record on his end or like a mic he could use. And he said yes. And then he called us from his Skype on his phone using like his Apple headset.
Right. And there's the only way he had access to it at the time. So I had to record the interview, I think, just raw. So it was like, I tried to boost it a lot in post, but so you can hear everything he's saying. It's just not the best audio quality.
But I remember being in the interview and having him explain things and me not being able to understand and not knowing if it was because I couldn't understand what he was saying or because the science just was way over my head.
Probably both.
Both.
But he's actually been a father since then too. So that's congrats to Ian for that. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Thanks for being a guest, Ian Cohen.
Yeah, we've talked about having him come back eventually when we have another big NASA announcement or something to talk about.
Because NASA's making big announcements all the time.
They do sometimes, but he's still working in that field.
We're closing down, guys. Big announcement.
But he's pretty busy with the whole kid thing, so we'll have him back sometime. It'll be great.
Episode 33, we went back to Copycat Cinema and did Insects versus A Bug's Life.
Right.
Ants versus A Bug's Life. And then we did the trailer review for Ant-Man, which is also since
it was all very appropriate.
Yeah. And that was, I don't remember. I think I defended ants, which is real bad.
the Woody Allen ants.
It's real bad.
And that episode actually got one of our most watched on YouTube for some reason. I guess it's people like searching those movies. And I ran to a woman I started working at this new office environment for the studio, but my studio new office, and she had randomly heard of our podcast and had listened to that episode on YouTube. And I was like, that's awesome. She like knew who we were. So that was the first time that ever happened. I'm a celebrity. Ew. So what's the next one?
Episode 34, we did a Ghostbusters Spectacular Extravaganza and review.
Woo! And we also were spitting in the faces of the people who were going to be all pissed about women being in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't out yet.
And you were kind of right. The movie wasn't great, but it wasn't the lady's fault.
Right. It was just not
It
very
really
well written
wasn't.
movie. Yeah.
It wasn't well written. It wasn't well cut together. I maintain if you watch the extended, like the director's cut, the relationships and relatability between the female cast becomes so much better.
Right.
Everyone gets little moments together. The characters get to develop. You get to see them be people, and versus the final, which cut almost all of that out.
Because they were all great actresses. Like, how'd they make them not funny? Like, they're so funny.
Yeah, 4 of the funniest current women in Hollywood or television or movies,
Yeah.
and somehow fucked it up.
It's pretty crazy.
But yeah, so we talked Ghostbusters, and then 35, which I loved, and I actually just listened to this one in the car not too long ago, was our cartoon episode.
Yep, all about our favorite cartoons, and we have a lot of them.
Talked about cartoons when we were growing up, Disney Afternoon. We talked about early Nick cartoons.
Adult Swim.
Adult Swim. We talked about current cartoons we like and the more adult-themed stuff. Talked about like when we transitioned off of cartoons. It was a good episode. I just recently listened to it. I enjoyed it a lot.
And I'm looking back. I made some pretty graphics back then for these episodes. I'm proud of myself.
You did.
They look better
You
than
still,
the ones
I
I make
mean, the
now.
graphics you make are still. It's not like you really skimp now.
I think I put too much in them now. I need to scale back. This has been a great thing for this podcast because we're remembering all the segments we used to do, and we should do more of them and stuff like that. So it's good.
Well, but though, here's the thing: is the Facebook posts that we seem to get the most traction on, and Facebook, you're terrible. Are the ones where you throw as much stuff onto a cell as possible.
I guess that's what it takes. I don't know.
Like, honestly, the ones that we've done well is like where there are like 6 movie posters and 2 cartoon characters and my face in the bottom right. Like, it's the more stuff you can put on it is the ones that get all the clicks.
Because people have ADD and they can't focus. That makes a lot of sense.
Thanks, listeners. We love you.
We do.
And then next episode, we took kind of a departure and we did a pinball episode.
Oh, but you missed our 1-year anniversary show on the episode 36.
I did? Son of a bitch. Oh, yeah. 1-year anniversary. That happened.
That was my most difficultly edited episode because I decided to take clips from all our episodes thus far and put them in that show. It took me
I remember going
2
back
days.
through and like listening and then getting time codes on the episodes so I could tell you what clips I wanted.
I'll never do that again unless I hire an editor and I have money in the future.
No, that's why we're doing this.
Yes, exactly.
We're doing what that was, but we're doing it manually right now.
But if you want a great recap episode, listen to episode 36 where I spent 2 days of editing to make that baby happen. And it sounds great.
And then next one, episode 37, we did just a strange departure. We did a pinball episode.
That's the most research we've ever done for an episode.
That is the most, yes, to this day, that is the most research I've ever done for an episode. That's 100% accurate.
Yeah, we both just looked into the history of pinballs and how it came about and how they, kind of lost popularity and what were the most popular machines. It was fascinating. Yeah. That was a lot of info heavy episode, but
and then that's the first episode that I think we changed up our intro music.
I think you're right. By Jimmy Henson of Big Giant Circles, and I added in clips from different sci-fi shows and TV, and I actually got his permission. I messaged him, and he said, "No problem, man. Just make sure you mention me on your show notes." And so he's on the end of every show notes now from this point on.
Ah, nice.
But it's great music. It's really
and I love that. I love that intro.
Thank you, and thanks to Jim Henson.
That's the thing. When I listened to the cartoon episode, it was the old one, which was just kind of music.
Yeah, it was like weird, chiptune stuff.
And then this weird back and forth between you and me. Between us, we have more than 20 years in the nerd arts.
Oh, God, I remember that. That was so long
ago. Exactly. I went, man, what the hell were we thinking?
What the hell are nerd arts?
And then episode 38, we talked about Ultron, and we had a guest on.
Yes, Geoffrey Combs.
And
he came on again for another episode later on, I think. So he came on. He's actually the guy who has thousands upon thousands of comic books because his brother gave him a ton, and he had a ton already. So he says he has over 25,000 comic books in his collection, which is ridiculous.
So thanks, Jeffrey. Jeffrey Combs, for coming on and being one of our many special guests. We appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. And if you want to know everything about Ultron, that episode is packed with that.
And then next episode, more guests. We went guest crazy for a little while.
We did. I like it.
We had the Rusted Robot podcast come on.
Yeah, Rusted Robot, Sean Vanderloo and Bridget Vanderloo. But since then, unfortunately, they have parted ways. They've gone their separate ways.
It's a shame.
But Sean still does the Rusted Robot podcast now, so you can still check it out. He's got other groups of friends who record with him, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great Canadian perspective of nerddom.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means.
right.
But it's just cool they talk about like the frozen tundra out there that he has to deliver mail, and it sounds awful. But hey, it's just as bad here in Florida where it's just blazing hot all the time. So there you go.
All I remember is that I was very impressed that they've got Admiral Adama on their intro.
Yeah, and he doesn't even say his name. He goes,
Hi, this is Admiral Adama, Battlestar Galactica, saying you're listening to the Rusted Robot Podcast. Think about it.
I was like,
Think about it.
It's so like grizzled and terrible, but it's amazing they got that.
Man, if I can get Carol Spinney to give us an intro as Oscar the Grouch.
Oh, that would be amazing.
All right. Now I've got a goal.
That's your goal. Record that in your iPhone.
Actually, I am thinking about getting one of those little clip-on USB mic things.
Oh, that'd be great.
Just to have on my phone.
Yeah, you never know. All right, episode 40, Monty Python's everything. So the whole history of Monty Python and all the movies and the
Our
TV
favorite
show.
Movies.
It's a lot of fun.
We reviewed Cooties and D-Train. I still haven't seen D-Train, though. It did come on, I think, Netflix. I did see Cooties. Cooties wasn't that good.
Yeah, I did not get to see that yet.
It was subpar.
Then we had episode 41, a Jurassic-sized episode, all the Jurassic Park movies, because the Jurassic World was coming out
Including the
soon.
new one.
Oh, yeah, 'cause it just came out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we reviewed it a little bit, too. Because I think we spoilered it. Yeah, spoiler filled. Yay.
So that was fun. Good themed
Talked about
episode.
Jurassic World. I think I just listened to this one, too, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I remember we kind of tore apart Jurassic Park 3 pretty hard. It was good. It was
Alan!
Alan.
And he turns into a raptor in a dream. It's crazy.
It's really weird. And
episode 42,
yeah,
Fallout.
That was our guest Patrick coming on,
Patrick,
our video
there we
game
go.
correspondent.
Patrick Kaczynski came on. Good old dear friend, someone who did a ton of Twitch work for us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he did the whole history of the Fallout franchise and everything. It was a lot of fun. And the trailer review for Batman versus Superman and Suicide Squad. We didn't know what had coming to us.
Boy, we were wrong about both.
I don't think we were that hopeful anyways.
That's true. I might have been hopeful for one of them.
Yeah, Suicide Squad I was more hopeful for, and they fucked that up. Oh, and episode 43, this is a funny situation because it's called Reality Kings, EdTV versus The Truman Show. And so that was our copycat cinema for those two movies. Great episode. But the thing is, everyone keeps playing and downloading this episode because they think it's the porn website called Reality Kings, apparently, which exists out there. So
that is awesome.
It's also one of our highest listened to episodes because it keeps getting searched and downloaded. It's like, oh, it must be porn. Like,
thanks, pervs.
Yeah, so basically trolls and porno watchers find our episodes. It's great.
Yeah. And so yeah, that was I think that isn't the most recent copycat cinema we've done, is it?
There might be one or two after that. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. We'll figure it out, won't we?
Episode 44.
Top 30 geeky fandoms. We talked about different fan groups, and I think I did a game where I named the followers of a group, and Jarman had to name the franchise.
Right. And there was, it was basically, I did it from a magazine that I'd found that had the top, it's like Geek Magazine, the top 30 most epic fandoms of all time. And we said, discuss their merits and see if they really live up to it.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And then Dragon Con 2015 recap.
I think a couple interviews in there too.
Yep, some more interviews and stories from Jarman. I think we did Dragon Con Bingo, where I named a costume.
See if it was actually there.
If you saw it, then I got to cross it off, and I got bingo.
I actually forgot Wes Craven had passed away, but apparently we talked about that in that episode.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm sad all over again.
Well, thanks, Jarman. And then episode 46, which was 46 minus 4, which was 42, which was a vague reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
It was all about Hitchhiker's Guide, and we had a guest for that show, didn't we?
Paul Wright.
Yeah, so we had the guest
from
Paul
Liverpool.
Wright from Liverpool, England, who was a friend of mine who does his own podcasting. He had the Sci-Fi Waffle podcast for a while, and he was also he's on the 10 Forward podcast all the time. But he is a Hitchhiker's Guide expert because he's listened to all the radio dramas, and stuff.
Like original, radio recordings and
Right.
talking about stuff that's been lost to the ages, and it's just insane. His knowledge was impressive and extensive,
And a great Liverpool British accent. Can't beat that.
That's right.
So thanks, Paul. Thanks for coming on.
Episode 47. I think that you and I were just coming back from something.
Right.
And so we decided to do just a full nerdy news episode.
That was fun. Because there's a lot of stuff happening. Because sometimes we have no
There's a
nerdy
lot of
news to talk
stuff,
about.
yeah.
And there was a lot that time.
But I'm not sure even how it came to be. But I think we were I was coming back from vacation and you were coming back from some trip and we just didn't have anything else put together.
Well, let's do this. Oh, and apparently Patrick joined us for that as well.
Did he?
That's what it says
Oh my
in the description. Thanks for joining us, Patrick. Yet again.
Hey, Patrick.
Woohoo! All right, so our episode 48 Halloween villain special. That's fun.
I loved this episode. I really enjoyed doing this episode.
Just talking about all our favorite villains from pop culture, and it was just a ton of people to talk about.
All the characters that you love to hate. And we
Mhm.
talked about every single one of them.
Also, another great graphic. Good job, Jarman.
Yeah. So let's figure out which episode you just gave up. We're going through. Let's figure out which one was the one where you were like,
I'm sure.
I can skip on this.
Just shove it together. Oh, so episode 49, this is actually pretty relevant now. We talked about the possibilities of a new Star Trek TV series.
That's right.
Because we heard rumblings of it happening, so we talked about what we would want from it, what would it be like. And we were joined by Chris Mitchell and Ryan Porter from Positively Nerdy. Chris Mitchell was a 10 Forward podcast regular host, and he's also from Britain, which is fun. But yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah, and we speculated wildly on what the show could be about, and
Man, once that show airs, we'll have to re-listen to that episode because
see if we were on at all.
We were probably way off.
And then very special episode for episode 50.
Everything special. What did we do for celebrities turning 50, 50th anniversaries in history and sci-fi, and 50 states factoid fumbles.
There we go.
Oh, and the trailer
and then
for Gods of
you
Egypt.
did a 5-minute aficionado
Right.
and gave us pointers on how to fit and wear a suit correctly.
Because so many men wear their suits and they look terrible in them. So it's pretty easy to make them look good. So I gave some advice. That was fun.
That's right.
Oh.
And then 51
Best
dedicated to aliens and Jarman and Area 51 and just bullshit.
All
just
the ghosts.
Bullshit. Everything but alien ghosts.
That graphic's pretty shitty. So there you go.
So maybe this is the one. Area 51 was where you said, I've had enough.
I'm tired.
We also revealed Batman vs. Superman and Captain America Civil War. We reviewed.
Time capsule, man.
We're getting old.
So then we had me and Jackie reviewed Star Wars Force Awakens. That was also one of our highest download episodes. That's pretty cool. Because we actually recorded it and I posted it within 2 hours or 3 hours of the midnight release of the movie. So that episode got out there real fast, and so I think it's why it helped it get downloaded a lot. But it was fun. Episode 52. This is I think you should take this one.
Yeah, my buddy Dan Armitage came and told us so much about beer. So much. Oh my God. Like the science and what different smells make. It was just insane.
Can I say the biggest thing I learned from that blew my mind was that
what
he said, whenever a beer says it has this kind of taste or that kind of taste, like grapefruit or lemon or lime or orangey, citrusy, cherry, those things aren't actually in the beer. And it blew my mind. They know the science of what certain things make things taste that way. So they put those in the brew. And I was like, what? Why don't they just put cherries in there? I was like, this is so weird. But that blew my mind. Totally blew my mind.
So Dan Armitage of Two Beers Brewing and Seattle Cider Company up in Seattle, Washington.
Props to you, sir. Thanks for coming on.
Episode 53, we talked about Alan Rickman and David Bowie.
Passing within the same week, I think.
What the fuck? That was a terrible week.
But yeah, that was a sad time.
Alan Rickman. This is Alan Rickman. Do not disappoint me.
I can teach you how to bewitch the mind and ensnare the senses. I can tell you how to bottle fame, brew glory, and even put a stopper in death.
Bowie, 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 I won't disappoint you.
Your eyes can be so cruel.
Very, very impressive.
Live without the sunlight.
Oh, we're known for our impersonations.
That was pretty much what that whole episode was. Yeah. Just being like, that's what you just experienced was pretty much that whole. Dance, magic, dance.
Dance, magic, dance. So then we nerded out on wine in episode 54 with another special guest.
My buddy Josh Smith, who was the head of a big tasting room for 2 or 3 years, talks about different wines and what you're looking for. And
the game he liked to play was, I don't know why you have me on here. I don't know anything about wine. And then he would tell us a million things about wine. We're like, yes, you do.
I don't know anything. And then he would just... Well, he didn't talk so much scientifically the way that Dan did.
That's true.
His was much more like practical and
fascinating stuff.
Yeah, fascinating. So thank you, Josh, for coming on.
Absolutely.
And then episode 55, I think we did like a science episode.
Right. I guess a
roundup
of science stories. Yeah, news stories and stuff like that happened recently.
Yeah, I think I had like a big list. So as I see stories for nerdy news, I pull them and throw them into a folder. And I think I had like a whole folder's worth built up.
Right. I remember that.
And I said, the hell with it. Let's just go through it.
It was a good time. Very informative episode, folks. Go back and listen.
Check it out. Cryptids. And then next up is one of my least favorite episodes we did.
Why?
It was just too many guests.
So here's the deal. We had just gotten
It wasn't the content. It was there were 4 of them.
We had just gotten a bunch of staff writers for the website. So we still have 2 of them pretty consistently writing, Jerry Herrera and Kaylin Cassandra. They are writing reviews of Walking Dead, The Path, Supernatural, Outcast. And so then we've lost 2 of them since, and they had to move on to their projects, Garrett Yoshitomi and Ben Tuchenhagen. But we had them all on at one time to talk about their nerdy passions and stuff, and so it was a little heavy.
It was heavy and excessive, and no one got to talk about anything at all.
We should have had them like one at a time come on the show.
Yes, that was the lesson that we learned there.
But it was great because later on, Jerry Herrera and I do the Stuff and Things podcast where we occasionally review seasons and episodes of Walking Dead together, and he's a really funny guy. So, and
he came on for a regular episode too later on.
I think so. Yeah. So it's a good because
we'll see in a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. But Kaylin's great.
But no, thank you to all 4 of you, Ben, Garrett, Jerry, and Kaylin, for your support and continued support of A Play on Nerds. Absolutely. It was just a little too much for one episode,
and that's our bad, not yours.
That's our mistake. So this next. Episode 57, the graphic you have here, I feel like are the kind of graphics that get us a lot of grabs.
Yes. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Star Trek Beyond, Indiana Jones, Independence Day, Doctor Strange, just all these
Angry
emblems
Birds, Power
all
Rangers.
on one thing.
So basically there are tons of movies coming out in the next 6 months. So there was too many to do a trailer reviews for, which is a good thing. It's kind of fun. So we just did an upcoming movie roundup.
A big extended trailer reviews.
Yeah, there were so many.
And let's see, of all the ones here, I saw Star Trek Beyond, Independence Day, Power Rangers, Rogue One, X-Men Apocalypse, Ghostbusters, Warcraft, Suicide Squad, Fantastic Beasts, Magnificent Seven, and Jungle Book. I saw most of these.
I did not see the Jungle Book or Angry Birds, but I've seen the
Jungle
rest.
Jungle Book is great. I highly recommend.
Oh, good. Weren't they making another one too?
Well, yeah, Disney. Yes,
a
Disney
different
likes
one.
money,
but not a sequel. They're making a different one entirely.
Oh, that's a different project, separate
right?
studio.
Exactly. It's very confusing.
Yeah,
but that was fun episode. So then our next episode 58, we had special guest Mark with a C, who is a nerdy musician who gets people are downloading his music all around the world actually at this point, but he is based out of here in Orlando where I am at, and he sings songs about just life in general, but he just happens to be a nerd, and it's kind of life through the lens of being a nerd, but not really about pop culture stuff, but just real fun, easygoing music to listen to, but with, some deep thoughts in it as well.
Yeah, I remember the one thing I really remember about that episode is how much time we spent talking about cystic fibrosis.
Oh, right, because one of his albums, one of had the album
was a benefit
album. Exactly. And it's a terrible disease. It's really awful.
For a fan of his who had cystic fibrosis and But I remember we just talked for like 20 minutes. The interview was we spent talking about cystic fibrosis.
It was cool to learn what it was about.
It was just great. It took a weird turn for us.
It did. But you check out his latest album, Unicorns Get More Bacon. It's a lot of fun. And he has his cover albums as well and stuff. But it was a fun episode. And we talked about Suicide Squad more, which is sad. But
episode 59 then. Back to Copycat Cinema. So you're right. We did I think this is the last Copycat Cinema we did.
Really?
And that was Red Planet versus Mission to Mars.
Yes. That's a good one. That's a good graphic, too.
That was good because two movies with really good casts that both ended up being terrible for various reasons.
Oh, yes. Like the cheesiness of Mission to Mars, too. And the Val Kilmer acting of Red Planet. Can't beat it.
Right. And then they're like not really being a villain. The villain's like the robot, but then the villain's also this space bacteria. And like it doesn't make sense.
And then special interview, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice review with a comic expert. And that comic expert was Geoffrey Combs.
Yep, Geoffrey Combs came back.
We talked about the many pitfalls of that movie, Dawn of Justice. So if you want to see a very in-depth review with a comic book expert who knew all the history of these characters and stuff, definitely worth listening to.
Mm-hmm. And then we did a Game of Thrones.
Part one of many. We should do a part two of that when this next season's done. We'll talk about the next season or something. That'd be fun.
That's true. Or we could do like weekly review, throw a segment in.
That's true. Yeah, for each episode of the podcast. I don't mind
that. So yeah, we talk about Game of Thrones, the books, the show, the new season. I mean, I still am in love with that show.
Oh, so
still
great.
In love with it. We're rewatching through it again.
I have no problems with that show. So then we have a new segment for episode 61 called Retro Film Favorites Retro Retrospective, where we put a list of all of our favorite movies of all time and we make each other watch the ones that we have not seen. So Stephen and I. So for this one, we did The Dark Crystal, which I had not seen until then, and Zero Charisma, which is an independent film produced by Nerdist, which is also very good. And it's all about Dungeons and Dragons. So very fantasy.
But really, it's about life.
It is. It's not really about Dungeons and Dragons, but it has that as a backdrop. But I love Dark Crystal, and I think Steven likes Zero Charisma.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. I like movies where characters don't know how tragic they are.
Oh, it was heartbreaking. I made my girlfriend watch it, Kate, and she's like, that was so depressing. I'm like, I know.
And then we had I think a month break, basically.
Yeah, we went from June 7th to June 29th.
Yeah, I think I had a vacation or something. And so we just played a lot of catch up and caught up on a lot of trailer reviews, and I don't remember anything. Oh, and then the Pulse nightclub shooting happened somewhere in there.
Right, because I live right here in Orlando, and I was actually in my studio when it was happening, about maybe 2 miles away from me. I didn't hear anything, luckily, but I went home like 4 a.m. and went to sleep, woke up and saw the news. Like that just happened like 2 miles away from me, so it was crazy. And I had friends who were there, and a girl that Steve and I went to high school with was there, and it's just like it's just crazy. So that was a up and down episode for sure.
And then episode 63, another retro retrospective, where I watched Drive, which you recommended, and you watched Melinda and Melinda, which I recommended.
Right.
And I really liked Drive, and you didn't really care for Melinda and Melinda.
I thought Melinda and Melinda was okay. It was all right.
It was all right. Yeah, it was okay.
It was okay. But it was
episode 64. We talked about all the stuff that came out at San Diego Comic-Con, because it's a magic time of year.
It is.
You get new trailers, new footage, all sorts of stuff.
That might happen to us again this year. If there's a lot of news coming out, we'll just do a big review of all the shit that comes out.
That sounds perfectly fine by me, because it'll all come out within a week.
Yeah, that's when we found out about Ego, the man planet, being in the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Oh, that's right.
Good times.
I think Kong Skull Island, that's where that was first announced.
Yep. Stranger Things. Talked about that.
Good.
And 65, which is also one of our most listened to episodes, People Pet Peeves.
I wonder what porn site is named that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only reason why people are listening to it, I'm sure.
Where we just complained about how just terrible people are.
I know, and just the things that just bother us, and we don't understand why people act certain ways, and it was very cathartic for me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And that is a fun graphic as well.
Episode 66, we talked about just nerdy television shows. I think TV was really the focus.
And you had just had a baby.
Yes. I think that was like the hiatus back in the game. Yeah. August 23rd, 2016 was episode 65, and then October 22nd.
So we took all of September off.
Yeah.
Wow. It's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, the baby came September 10th.
This might be our second longest break, then, because that looks like our longest break.
Yeah, it's got to be our longest.
But we talked about the tons of TV shows we're all watching, and there's a lot on TV right now, so a lot to cover.
There is.
Hope you're still with us, folks. We're in the home stretch now.
Oh, yeah, we're right there. You may actually remember some of these episodes.
Yeah.
Episode 67, talked about Walking Dead, the season premiere, and then we had on Jerry Herrera.
Yep, who does our Walking Dead
guest
reviews.
on that one to talk about Walking Dead and the new season, which was overall pretty lackluster, and I'm overall disappointed with. But,
Yeah. We should do a recap show of that one, too, of this past season, and be depressed about it.
And then episode 68, we did our first in the series of our Star Trek Muppet reviews, and we reviewed Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Indeed, and that was actually
which
November
we both
6th.
Kind of agreed wasn't really as good as either of us remembered.
Right, and but it wasn't that bad either. It's just all right.
Yeah,
kind of like Melinda and Melinda.
Yep. And that was also the episode where we had to talk about Trump getting elected.
Yeah, because it came out November 16th, so I think we had recorded it the day after the election, and we're just like, yay.
Yeah. Though that did lead to one of my favorite moments in the entire show that we've done, and I hate tooting my own horn, but my mayonnaise sandwich.
Oh, yes. Made that into a little independent clip.
And you putting the music, if you can throw it into this episode, I'd love that too.
Oh, yes.
But the people that I blame, and I'll probably get hit for this, are the people that voted third party.
Well, especially in swing states. I mean, there was no reason to.
This is the way I think about it, and the sort of narrative I've been telling in my head. So imagine you're a kid, and your mom says, "Hey, honey, come into the kitchen." You walk into the kitchen all excited. She said, "Let's decide what kind of sandwiches we're going to make for everyone for lunch." And you say, "Okay, what do we have?" And she's like, "Well, we don't have many good choices because I didn't go grocery shopping. So we can do peanut butter and jelly." And you're like, "Oh, but it's chunky peanut butter, and I hate chunky peanut butter." She's like, "Okay, that's fine." Oh, or we really have nothing. We can do mayonnaise sandwiches. And you're like, "Mayonnaise sandwiches, there's no substance. They're good. It's basically not a sandwich." And you sit there and you think for a second. You said, "Mom, I want a hot dog." And your mom said, "We don't have hot dogs. We don't have buns." And like, I'd have to fire the grill up, and we just can't. That's not on the menu. And you said, "No, Mom, I did the research, and hot dogs have a lot of protein, and the buns are great, and you can customize them any way you want." Your mom said, "Honey, really, I'm very proud of you for doing that research, but you can't. We don't have what it's going to take to make a hot dog. We just don't. We don't have it." And while you were sitting there telling your mom about how great hot dogs were, your jackass cousin Bob, who loves mayonnaise and hates gay people, walked in and said, "Hey, are we doing mayo sandwiches or what?" And your mom said, "Fine, we're doing mayo sandwiches." And because you decided to choose something that wasn't on the menu, now we all have to eat mayo sandwiches for the next 4 fucking years.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, independent voters, for choosing mayo sandwiches. But I love that. And I think that's one of the best pieces that has come out of this show.
It's your utter frustration.
Just out of utter frustration comes comedy.
It's true. And episode 69, what?
Hey, sex guys. we aren't sex people, I think is the quote from that
we aren't sex people. But we reviewed the Muppet movie, the original classic, as it calls itself.
Yep. And Jarman enjoyed it from whatever.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I did like that one.
So and then after this, it's just back and forth. This is pretty predictable because then it's the second. Oh no, with Star Wars holiday,
right? Because it was around Christmas time, so we had the live commentary of the Star Wars holiday special, our first live commentary,
which I could see us doing again, maybe.
Right? I think people liked it. I got 1 or 2 responses from people that liked it. So
yeah,
there you go.
And then we're right back to Star Trek review, Wrath of Khan, Star Trek 2.
It was fun. And
then from here, like the rest of it, you guys pretty much know, because then we're back with the other Muppet movie,
Great Muppet Caper,
some terrible looking trailers, Search for Spock,
Star Trek 3, and then we had the last episode, which was Muppets Take Manhattan,
where we had our guests Ryan and Joe from Tough Pigs come and join us and school us all about the Muppets.
So that is our whirlwind history of every episode of Play on
And then
Nerds.
you are living episode 75
right now. Right now it's happening.
Right now. How long did it take us to go through that? Holy crap. All right.
About 45 minutes. But
all right. Well, we made it. You made it this far. Thanks for joining us. We hope to give you another 75 episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for our next episode, it's going to be our first ever in-person Play on Nerds.
So we often talk about very special episodes.
Right.
This next episode may be the first one that actually qualifies as a very special episode.
Because you were my best friend growing up, but I don't think I have seen you since we started this podcast. Have I seen you?
Correct me if I'm wrong. The last time I saw you was either Christian's wedding or when you and Jackie came to New York.
Right. So maybe I did see you since we started this podcast, but that would have been almost 3 years ago.
Right. So it would have had to be when you and Jackie came to New York because we were in our basement apartment.
Yes. I mean, I took your wife to get our nails done and drink beers.
Yeah. And then we went to see, was it Cannibal the musical?
Yes, it was wonderful.
Silence the musical.
Oh, it's such a good musical. So anyway, people are always confused. They think that we actually recorded this together because I try to make it sound pretty similar, the sound quality. We both have decent mics and that kind of thing, but we're not in person. So this is going to be great. I'm going to be seeing Steve for his dad's retirement party in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yep. We're flying Jarman out and we're going to do our first in-person show, which is just nuts.
It is nuts. That never happened before.
I'm not even sure what we're going to do yet.
Yeah,
we've never actually done an in-person show before, but
we might need to be inebriated. But since I'm with the Baumans, I probably will be inebriated.
Oh, there'll be beer. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that. How about that?
Don't worry about that, nah.
So that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and so now in proper Play on Nerds tradition, we're gonna move on to trailer reviews.
Here at Play on Nerds, we have developed an interesting rating system to bring to you our ideas on the trailers we're about to review. At the low end of the scale, we have Burn It, where we think you should find every copy you can get your hands on and throw it into a barrel fire.
Kill it with fire. And our next step is Drunk Watch, which means that, yeah, I'd watch this movie. It'd be entertaining if I was under the influence of some kind of substance of some kind. But if I was sober, probably not going to check this thing out.
Nope, not going to see it. Next, we've got We'll See, which is maybe we just don't know enough about this movie to tell what the hell it's going to be.
Could be good, could be bad, not sure. And our next category would be Get the Couch Ready, which means I'm definitely going to check this movie out at home. Wouldn't necessarily pay the big bucks to see it in theaters, but I'm definitely going to watch it at home, so get that couch ready.
After that, we have Take a Look, where we are recommending for you, our viewers and listeners, to check out this movie and check out the trailer and tell us what you think about it. We wanted to see what you guys think.
It looks pretty good, but we're not quite sure yet.
Yeah, take a look.
Yeah.
Let us know.
And for our final and best category, we have Shut Up and Take My Money.
Shut up and take my money.
This looks so awesome, we're gonna see it.
That's where we cannot wait to give Hollywood bigwigs all of the money that we have earned at work to go see a film for $47. We're so excited, we just have to go see it. We don't have a choice.
And that is our Play on Nerds official copyrighted trademark system for rating our movie trailers.
So our first one that I'm sure hopefully all of you have seen by now is Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, the first teaser came out.
Now I know what you're thinking. How did this happen? Well, it's a long story.
Asgard is dead.
What have you brought today? Tell me.
A contender.
It's main event time.
And now, I give you your incredible...
Yes! We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Oh, come on.
So it looks like Thor captured on a distant planet, distant world, distant dimension, who knows?
Right.
Forced into the fighting pits.
Cuts his hair off.
Some new villainess.
Played by Cate Blanchett, who looks gorgeous.
I know you're into those.
She looks
you
with age.
You like angular faces.
I do. My girlfriend.
And I don't care. I don't care for them. it's just difference in feel.
You like
Same
the
reason
softer
I don't care
features.
for Tilda Swinton.
Well, Tilda Swinton looks like an alien. I'm not quite that far.
I feel
Good for
like
her
Tilda
and all,
Swinton
but-
is Cate Blanchett Jr., by the way. I feel like you can pretty much interchange them in film.
No, Tilda Swinton's like someone took a vacuum and then put it in the back of Cate Blanchett and sucked out some more of the fat from her body because Cate Blanchett's already too skinny, and then Tilda Swinton's like a skeleton.
So Tilda Swinton is if Cate Blanchett and Skeletor had a love child.
Yes,
got it.
I don't think Cate Blanchett's gorgeous because she's thin, because I don't like thin women necessarily, but she's just a beautiful woman. I think she's stunning, and she's got those cheekbones for days. And she's also really intelligent and a great actress. So there you go. Anyways, I think she's
Can we both agree that she was just terrible in the most recent Indiana Jones film? Can we just agree on that?
She had nothing to work with. I don't blame her for that.
The defender till the end. New villainess played by Cate Blanchett. Thor forced into the fighting pits, this distant world or whatever, and then all of a sudden the Hulk's there.
And a great line by Thor saying, "I know him. We're work friends.
We're friends from work."
They're playing Immigrant Song by Leonard Skinner.
But we can see Loki's back.
Not Leonard Skinner, Led Zeppelin, sorry.
He has somehow found himself in a position of power in this new world.
Well, he was faking to be Odin, if you remember correctly.
Yeah.
The last time we saw him.
There's no explanation of why now, though.
That's true.
Because
we'll figure that out.
You see Thor down in the fighting pits and Loki's up on the couch.
Right.
Up in the stands.
Made some deal with them, probably.
Yeah. But I'm excited. I think that I like that this doesn't look like the last two Thor movies, which I didn't particularly care for.
They couldn't find their tone, and I think they're going more with the Guardians of the Galaxy feel for this one, like goofy and fun and adventurous, and that's what they should be doing. I think that's going to be great. I think it'll make it a lot more better. Mo better.
Yeah. And I like the throwback to the old style, like Thor helmet.
Yeah.
The pull down visor, and I just thought that was a nice little.
I'd forgotten about
moment.
that. That's true.
A little bit of fan service.
Yep.
But I'm going to give this a baby willing shut up and take my money.
I think I will as well. Shut up and take my money. Good job, Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. And then the next trailer we're going to discuss just came out yesterday. We bumped another trailer to put this one in.
We were going to review it, but screw you, it.
Yep. It's got time. It's not coming out till like October, I think, so we're fine.
Exactly.
So that's The Last Jedi.
Star Wars, The Last Jedi.
Star Wars The Last Jedi, the next, the sequel to Force Awakens.
Breathe. Just breathe. Now, reach out. What do you see?
Light. Darkness. A balance.
It's so much bigger. I only know one truth. It's time for the Jedi to end.
I am so excited.
I thought the trailer was kind of lacking, but I don't care because I think the movie's been great. But the trailer was just kind of didn't do it for me. I don't know. I like they did the same thing of like the beginning like they did in the last trailer, except for now it's her. And then I love the voiceovers from Mark Hamill. That was fantastic. But then that last shot was just really awkwardly placed, and he was standing in an awkward way. It was just like, what? That's your powerful last shot? So just like, I thought it could have been done a little better, but I love the voiceovers, especially. You know, that was a great part of it.
Oh yeah, and then you get to hear a little bit of Yoda.
Did you?
Just a little.
I didn't hear that. I'll have to rewatch it.
When they're showing the like Force books, they zoom in and they show the symbol for the Jedi. If you listen up, you can hear a little bit of Yoda in there.
I didn't even notice that. I'll have to watch it again.
I don't know. There were a lot of things I liked about it. I like the sort of throwback, yet something new of, you know, the ships hugging the ground, speeding out to meet the walkers.
That was pretty cool.
Or ATSTs in the far distance, and one of them, and they all look rickety.
Yeah.
And shitty. And I'm like, this is the new Resistance. All right.
Yeah, I like it.
I like that.
But then like the scene with what's his name? The I can't remember, the pilot.
Oh, Poe Dameron.
Poe Dameron in the hangar bay, and like the hangar when the ships explode, that's like almost the same thing we saw in the last movie. Like I was just like, they could have showed something different, you know, with him in it. I guess I don't know. It was kind of underwhelming for me.
Yeah, I mean that's the other problem, I think, when you put together a trailer, even a teaser, this long before the movie comes out.
Right, and also they can't give away anything, so they can't show any scenes that give away any plot, you know. So
right, we're still too far away for them to give away major plot points or major reveals. So it's like, what do we have finished that won't show too much?
Right, that's fair.
Yeah, but no, I like the sort of callback to like Luke is not the Jedi Master we remember him to be. This
grizzled.
is not the old rebellion. This is not like we're even worse off than we were before.
Right.
And I got that feel. I like that.
I can see that.
I don't like that we really got to see very little Finn.
Yeah, he was like he was a pod or something.
The only time you see him, he's in a med pod.
Yeah.
And then we didn't get to really see any Kylo Ren.
Yeah, just having to hear his voice at the end. That's about it.
Oh, there was that one shot where he's looking over his lightsaber.
Oh,
probably a
right.
second and a half close up, and that was about it.
And that's the poster too. It's like a little tiny Daisy Ridley holding up her lightsaber, and then it goes up in the air, and there's a big Skywalker face next to a big Kylo Ren face.
Yeah. So
what do you give it?
Oh, shut up and take my money. If we had a higher rating than that, I would. No, here's my new higher rating. Even if the baby doesn't cooperate, I'm going to go see this movie. Baby be damned. That's my new rating.
Oh, jeez.
Baby be damned. I'm going to go see this movie.
I will say midnight showing or midnight sober showing. That's what I'm saying. Because I want to catch every last detail of this one. It's going to be great.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I think we're both going to give this our money.
Television, the drug of a nation, breeding ignorance and feeding radiation. TV, its satellite links are United States of unconsciousness. Apathetic, therapeutic, and extremely addictive. The methadone metronome, pumping out 150 channels 24 hours a day. You can flip through all of them, and still there's nothing worth watching. TV is a reason why...
So quick, next segment, Radical Recommends. Did you have one for this week, Steve?
I do. Do you?
I do.
All right, let's hear yours first, because mine is lame.
Okay, so I have a couple quick ones. So this is basically where we recommend things that we've been watching lately or that we've watched in the past that we think you guys should watch. Just recently, the girlfriend did have me watch Big Little Lies, which is a show on HBO. It's only 8 episodes long, and it's done. There's not going to be any new seasons or anything.
Okay.
But it was a very over-the-top, yet very well-done drama of a bunch of moms in a rich town, played by Nicole Kidman, and I always forget her name. She was in Legally Blonde.
Reese Witherspoon.
Nicole Kidman, Reese Witherspoon, and Jimi Hendrix's daughter. Not Jimi Hendrix. Who's the guy who looks like Jimi Hendrix who plays guitar?
Lenny Kravitz.
Lenny Kravitz.
Good work.
Lenny Kravitz's daughter, and that girl who's in all those sci-fi teenage movies. Just recently.
I'm not helping you anymore. You can look
Anyways,
it up.
It's a great through line story, 8 episodes. It's really dramatic, but also just like you catch yourself like, why am I so invested in this ridiculous white people with their problems? But it's really good. And then Outcast, which is a show by the creator of The Walking Dead, Robert Kirkman. He has a whole comic book that's been going for a long time about Outcast, but now they're making it into a show, and it's the second season now. But it's not talked about a lot, so I'm hoping it doesn't get canceled because it's really good, and it's about a guy who has the power to expel demons by touching them. Even though, but he's finding out they're not really demons, that they've thought they've been demons this whole time, but they're not. There's something else, and they're not sure what it is. It's fascinating.
Is it ghosts?
It's not ghosts.
All right.
They're not sure.
I'd be real mad if it was ghosts.
So it also has Brent Spiner, who played Data on Star Trek, and he plays like the main antagonist. It's really good, and it's a great drama role for him. So that's my recommends.
Okay.
What about you?
So my recommends are a little bit more mundane. I'm going to recommend Huggies Snug and Dry.
Oh, God.
Diapers. So let me tell you why. So you're going to get all sorts of recommends from all different parents about diapers. And the one I'm talking about is Huggies Snug and Dry. Not to be confused with Huggies Little Snugglers. Different. And they both come in red boxes. It's confusing as shit. So when we started, we got recommends for Pampers all over the place because they have this yellow line on them. And when the kid pees, it turns green. So all you have to do is look and you can see that they're wet.
Interesting.
That's okay, I guess. It's all right. But Joyce wouldn't sit in them. As soon as she was wet, the fit would start immediately. And so when we brought her home, we were going through 13, 14 diapers a day.
Jeez.
Just insane. Just insane.
It's a lot of pee.
So the one that we then found works better is the Huggies Snug and Dry. So the downside is they don't have that line, but she can go a whole night in one of those diapers and we don't have to change her overnight.
That's awesome.
They suck up pee like the ones from the Oops, I Crap My Pants SNL parody.
Oops, I crap my pants.
So we highly recommend Huggies Snug and Dry. They're nice and hefty. They'll keep the kid happy for 8 to 10 hours if you absolutely need it. And we highly recommend.
That just reminds me too much. I just watched the movie The Visit, and there's a scene with used adult diapers in it, filled with poop.
That's right.
It's terrible. So thanks for reminding me of that.
And thanks for reminding me about that terrible movie.
It wasn't that bad.
It was pretty bad. The reveal was almost redeeming, but really not quite.
Yeah, not quite.
But yeah, that's my radical recommend. Huggies Snug and Dry.
You heard it here first, folks. Huggies
That's right.
Snug and Dry.
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant.
And for our thank you segment, thanks to everybody. Just thanks for being with us for these 3 years.
Yeah, I think we mentioned at least 7 or 8 guests over the course of this episode. Thank you to each and every one of you for contributing and being a part of what will someday be the legacy that is a Play on Nerds.
Right, and on top of that, I want to thank Jackie, Ethan, and Cole, and Ricky, and Patrick, are basically our whole
all of
Twitch
our Twitchers.
team. Yes, we had a great run with Twitch. We just eventually, it wasn't sustainable on my end to produce those things, so might come back in some form later on, but for now, it's just it's going to be taking a break for a while.
A hiatus.
Yeah.
But thanks for everyone's work, and Jarman, thank you for all the editing.
Oh, and thank you,
and
Steve, for all the ideas that you come up with. A lot of these segments were Steve's ideas, so he's the idea man.
That's right. I'm the brain. He's the brawn.
I'm the Wozniak. You're the Jobs. That's what I look at.
That's right. You're the body. Shut up.
The body.
You're the body. I'm the brains.
Shut up. It should be in a box.
We're Master Blaster, okay?
Master Blaster. I'm missing the dick. That's all.
But yeah, so thanks for, and especially thanks to our listeners. Thanks for tuning in, making us letting us pretend we're special for an hour and a half at a time.
For 3 years.
For 3 years. Holy crap. Is that how long we've been playing pretend now?
Yep. Been playing pretend for 3 years that we actually mean something.
That's right. And we'll hopefully go for another 3 years, and tune in next time for our very, very, actually very special first in-person episode.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I'm so stoked.
It's gonna be fun.
So Keep on listening. We'll keep on coming back with nerdy content. We've been your hosts. You've been our listeners. Thanks again, Internet.
Stay nerdy, my friends.
If you'd like to find out more about us, you can always check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/aplayonnerds.
Or check us out on Twitter and Instagram at aplayonnerds.
We're also streaming live game content all the time on twitch.tv/aplayonnerds.
Fun videos and stuff to check out, youtube.com/playonnerds.
And also, please subscribe to us on iTunes and leave a review if possible, because that lets us be easily searched in the iTunes search index for podcasts.
And that way we know if we stink.
Exactly. Let us know if you hate us or you love us. That's always great.
Check us out at our website, www.aplayonnerds.com, where all this content can be found at the tip of your fingers.
And you can also always email us at anything@aplayonnerds.com.
And then check us out on, I guess, Snapchat, maybe.
For dick pics.
Or Tumblr.
Tumblrs. Periscopes.
You could also throw a rock at us with a message on it.
Carrier pigeons.
We accept cassette tapes.
I love cassette tapes.
We just want to hear from you.
Yes, please send us anything you like at any of these social media outlets.
However you do it, check us out.
And how.